Hello and welcome to another episode of Sharing Wisdom. I'm your host, Angie Wisdom, and today we're talking all about health and wellness, you all. Lorayne Michaels is here joining me. She's a fitness coach, a wellness coach, a keynote speaker, and I am extracting all of her knowledge around us being our best selves physically. She's going to talk to us about the 5 biggest mistakes we're making that are causing us to hang on to our fat. She's going to tell us what the best things to tune into right now that are going to help us live our most healthiest lives. Well, Lorayne, I'm so excited to have you here because I have a goal this year to be in the best shape of my life by the time my birthday comes around the day after Christmas. So everything we're talking about today, the fitness, the health, the medicine, peptides, everything is just so exciting to me. I'm geeking out on all this. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. That's exciting. That's a great goal to have.
It is, I've always cared about fitness as far as just being in a healthy state, but there's something about, I don't know, when the older you get, it was funny. I set this goal back right before my 50th birthday. And I was like, I want to be in the best shape of my life by the time I'm 50, right? And it was like, oh my gosh, that was months. It was ridiculous. And so I was like, well, maybe it's in my 50th year. It's just the last day of my 50th year. So it
Yeah.
kind of carried on. And it's just been fun because when you really take the space and the time for it and you start to learn all these things, which is why I'm excited about our conversation, there's just so much that we have control over.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's so funny how it kind of changes in our 20s. We want, we want to just look good. We just want to
Yes.
look good. We want to look skinny. I remember that. I always just wanted to be skinny. And then, as we're getting older, it's the different things. And now Friday is going to be my birthday. I'm going to be 41.
Oh,
And, it's the same thing. I'm like, I want longevity. I want to be healthy. Of course, I want to look good, but I want to be healthy in like you said, the best shape of my life.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just that vitality.
It is. It's different desires. And going to your point, when we were younger, there wasn't a whole lot that you had to figure out either. It was
Right.
it seemed easier. Like you could go to the gym, you could do your couple workouts, or you could run a little bit. And it was it all just fell off at the right places. It built in the right places. It just
Yeah.
seemed like it was a one size fits all kind of concept. And as we progress in life, it seems like no, it's not. You have to
Yeah.
understand how you build, where you lose, what helps, and all that. So let's
Yeah.
just kind of jump into it from that standpoint.
All
I
right.
love the fact that you came from traditional medicine. That's really your background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years, over 20 years in Western medicine.
Yeah.
And so that really just built my foundation of everything. And, after COVID, that's when I really dove into functional medicine. But that kind of was my basis. So that helps because you do need to learn everything. You need to know
Sure.
anatomy, physiology, and why things happen, right? Um, but that's what really catapulted me into functional medicine and fitness and nutrition and training and all of that.
What did you see in kind of the typical Western medicine that was maybe giving you some ideas or leading you to wanting to be more involved in functional medicine?
So right off the bat, what I think of is we're all taught the food pyramid, right? We're all
Mhm.
taught the basics. But really it's not really good. It's got your basics, right? Your carbs, your meat, fruits, all those things, but and you kind of touched on it. It's not a one size fits all. And that's
Mm.
why I really love when I'm working one on one with clients, getting into what works for them and also, testing, not guessing. And so, what really flipped for me is with Western medicine, they are taught one thing. Yes, it changes over time. I get that. But doctors they don't take nutrition courses. So they don't know, what is good and the building blocks and, the amino acids and the branch chains that are in certain foods. Like they don't know all of that stuff. So then
Mhm.
in functional medicine, you really dive into that. You really learn how the foods work and how they work in your body and the supplements and, herbs and how cinnamon is excellent for blood sugar and stabilization, So I really loved getting into the functional side of it and figuring out what works for your body and how you can use that rather than like
Hmm.
Western medicine and you're getting a pill for something.
Right, right. I'm totally on board with that. And I love there's so many out there, and maybe you can share some of them. We'll talk about it later, but I love those little things that people don't know. Like I just wrote down like cinnamon for your blood sugar. Like where it's like this is natural stuff. This is sometimes stuff that we have in our own cabinets, our spice cabinets or
Yeah.
whatever it may be that could really make a difference. So I definitely want to hear more on that as well. But I'm
Yeah.
wondering, do you feel like now is a different time as far as like functional medicine is bigger than ever? Unless my eyes have just opened to it, but it was always very traditional Western medicine. And has something changed to make people go, we've got to do this differently? I want to look more at the functional medicine aspect side of it and what I'm eating and how it's working and all of that versus in the past.
I really think it was COVID that did it, that
Mm.
pushed people over the edge, that really pushed people out of the comfort zone to look past the veil of, what's really going on and to really start being an advocate for themselves, for their own
Mm.
health. Of course, the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again, and the push for getting dyes out of foods and glyphosate and all these chemicals that is everywhere on everything, um that really opened people's eyes to what is going on. And I'm not trying to fearmonger, because there's a level of toxicity that is inevitable out there, but you want to be able to monitor, not necessarily monitor it, but have an idea of what you're bringing into your body, right? And so you can control that. And by just making those right choices, and just knowing what is out there and what's going on and how you can make a better, healthier choice for what you put in your body or on your body for that matter.
Hmm.
But I really do think it was COVID that kind of pushed people over the edge, that really opened their eyes to functional medicine and how to eat functionally for your body.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. Like I said, I'm fascinated. So it feels like a newer world to me because I didn't really ever operate that like that before. But anyone who likes to optimize, which I love to do, I just hadn't done it in that space. Like if you want to progress, if you want to optimize, you want to like extract the most out of everything and get the best performance, it makes so much sense. So
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about, some of the things that you see out there that are creating some of the resistance, some of the inefficient growth. When you look out there in the world, you mentioned like dyes and some of the things that are in our food. But what else are you seeing with people where it's like, this is what's holding them back? This is what's preventing them from having this vitality, this healthiness, this living at a peak performance level?
Well, I think the thing that I'm seeing a lot more of lately, and what I'm really wanting to focus on and help, is women over 35,
Mm,
who have been, told not to lift heavy. They really have this fear of lifting heavy, but really that is going to be so beneficial for you as you're aging. That's going to help with your bone density. It's going to help with your metabolism. We talked about it earlier. When we get older, things change. So you really need to be lifting more so you can be building more muscle, because muscle is more metabolically active than fat. So the more
mm,
muscle you have, the more fat you're burning. So, I mean, the five biggest mistakes that I'm really seeing right now is that women aren't lifting heavy enough. They're not eating enough protein. And again, that was kind of, a Western medicine traditional thing. They told you not to have too much protein because, again, like the fear mongering, and they really don't know. But not eating enough protein, not even eating enough calories because, again, they were told to eat less and move more. But if you're moving more, your body's going to require more. So you have to give it more. So, not eating enough protein, not eating too little in general, doing too much cardio. That's another huge one.
Mm,
And not managing your stress. So, those are the
mm.
5 biggest mistakes right now that I see women struggling with, um, that I really want to change that narrative of, and really help them get into that living optimally, and so that they can see the results and they can have that vitality and
Yes.
feel the best, better as they're aging.
Love it. And I want to break these down. But overall, when you look at these 5 mistakes that you see people making, what is it causing? Like, what are you seeing as either the result or the symptom that people are experiencing and complaining about because of that?
Fatigue is the
Mm.
biggest. Um, poor sleep. That's another big
Mm,
thing. They're losing that zeal, that zest.
mm,
They're losing that fire, that passion. They're just kind of going through life, the mundane, um, doing their routine, get up, get the
yeah.
kids ready, go to work, pay the bills. It's just so boring and they just feel so blasé.
Yeah.
So it's really sucking the life out of them, and they just don't. I don't. I don't know my passions anymore, or I just don't have that joy that I used to have, or the things that I used to love
Mm.
to do. It's just that feeling of day to day, another
Yeah,
day.
that's so interesting. So, because I kind of expected you to say, "Oh, their weight here," or they, don't feel as fit anymore, or they have the belly fat. But really, you're saying that the fatigue, the lack of sleep, the poor sleep quality, and just that kind of meh mentality of life, like those are the symptoms that are showing up from not eating the right foods, not eating enough protein, not getting certain workouts in, the stress, like all of that is creating more of what people may feel like is a
Yeah,
mindset thing, but really it's from a lack of proper physical
absolutely.
exercise and eating.
Absolutely. And then the weight, not necessarily that gain, but that is a result of that, right? So when you're
Right.
feeling all of those things, you're not going to be motivated to work out. You're not going to do those things because you
Mm-hmm.
feel so cruddy. So that
Yeah.
is going to be another result of it, of not looking and feeling the way that you want to.
It's like that trickle down
Yep.
symptom.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fascinating.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these, mistakes that people are making and give the listeners information on like, well, what should it really be? Because you and I both know there was a time, and I don't feel like it's so much right now, thank gosh, but like there was a time where it was like there was a conflicting report every
Mm.
other week. It was like, oh my
Mm.
gosh, don't eat bacon. Hey, you should eat bacon. Don't have coffee. You should have coffee. No
Yeah.
sugar. Sugar's okay. So it was like
Yeah.
constant, like, what is truth out there? So talk
Yeah.
to me about protein. I do hear this a lot. And I
It's
actually
my
watched a
favorite.
video the other day. Yes. And it's like, it's a lot of protein we should be eating.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I understand that. So with the protein, making sure
Yes.
that we're getting in enough protein is you're wanting to have a gram of protein per ideal body weight per pound. So if you're 130 pounds and you want to weigh 120 pounds, you're going to want to eat 120 grams of protein per day, and splitting that up over however many meals that you have, but making sure that you're tracking this, because that is one of the biggest mistakes, is clients that are not tracking and they have no idea and they're eyeballing it, or they're just kind of going on a whim of, well, I ate this. You have to be meticulous and you have to track everything,
Mm.
because everything has a macronutrient attached to it. So making sure that you're getting in a gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight.
And
That's the
what
first
happens
one.
if we're not? Like, what are we going to see the effects of? If you're only getting in, say, 80 grams or 90 grams of protein and you want to be 120 pounds and you're 130 pounds, what are you experiencing?
So that also depends on how much you're moving, because when you are exercising, your body is going to require more calories. And then
Mm,
that, again, you have to working with, a coach like myself, I'm going to break down for you what macronutrients you need, how much protein, fat, carbs. So if you're not getting in enough protein, and let's just say you're not working out, you're sedentary, or just you walk the dog every once in a while, what you're going to see is you are not going
Okay.
to be putting you're not going to be putting on muscle mass. You're actually going to start losing muscle mass. I noticed this with myself actually, because for some years I had been intuitively eating because I had competed so long. I knew how much protein I needed, but I wasn't tracking it. And I was lifting heavy frequently because I was trying to build muscle and lose fat, but I wasn't getting in enough protein. And so I did
Mm-hmm.
an in-body scan. And what had happened was my muscle mass went down and my body fat percentage went up. So if you're not getting in enough protein,
Mm.
that's what's going to end up happening. You're going to start losing muscle mass and you're going to start putting on fat, but you might not be able to even see it because of the two, right? One's going down, one's
Oh,
going up. So you
interesting.
might not even
Right.
see the
Right.
appearance that you're getting fatter, quote unquote, fatter.
Right. So the scale may not change, but you're going
Right.
to feel it as far as, well, literally feel it in your body
Right.
tone, right? And
Yeah.
see it in certain areas. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's enough to scare people into eating enough protein. You are going to put on weight and build more fat if you're not eating enough protein. Okay.
Yep.
Can you give us, and this is selfishly for me too, like when someone hears that, and I bet most people look at their protein, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm probably getting like 75 grams or 80 grams of protein, and I need 120. So, what are some of the easiest ways that you pick up that extra protein so it doesn't feel like eating is a full time job?
For sure. Because I know it can feel like that. The easiest is bulk prepping. So bulk prepping your meats because that is the most time consuming and you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to be stuck with not having an option and you grab the wrong thing. You grab something that's just easy and it doesn't have protein. So making sure you're set up for success is prepping your protein. And then adding in the little toppings. So if we're going to do a fruit smoothie or a protein smoothie, doing lower on the fruit side, but you have a protein powder, you're adding in chia seeds, you're adding in hemp hearts. So
Mm.
knowing those toppings, little toppers that you can throw in, that's going to add that little kick of protein. Another
Gotcha.
thing, protein shakes, not just making the protein smoothie, but adding protein powder to different things, to yogurts. They have a clear protein powder, and that is just like when you're getting in your water and you have
Mm-hmm.
clear protein powder, you're not drinking a protein shake, so to speak, but it's like you're drinking lemonade.
Mm.
Um, I like to find really clean protein bars as well. Beef
Mm-hmm.
jerky, that's another one that's a quick,
Mm-hmm.
easy, just these little nuances that you can have on hand. Almonds are amazing. Another good little protein boost. Edamame, that's another great
Oh,
one.
yeah. Yeah.
So it's
That's
just
amazing.
these
Yeah.
little things. You get used to it after time when you work with a coach. They'll be able
Mm-hmm.
to give you
Mm-hmm.
these ideas so that it's
Yes.
not just, oh, I have to have 140 grams of chicken. It sounds
Right.
overwhelming,
Right. Yeah.
but when you break it down,
You've got these little places that you can pick that up. Love it. Love it.
yeah.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
heavy lifting aspect, you just kind of mentioned heavy lifting when you were not eating enough protein. So, and I hear this a lot right now, we can almost lump the cardio and heavy lifting together because for a while it was like cardio, that's how you're going to lose weight. And now you're hearing so much, even my doctor, it's like, we need the heavy lifting for osteoporosis, right? For your
Mhm,
bone density. We need
mhm,
it for, you had mentioned earlier, something else around heavy lifting as well, even the metabolism. So
mhm.
talk to me a little bit about like, what does that look like? When people hear heavy lifting, it's like, I need to be in CrossFit, throwing barbells around, or what does this look like in real life for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So heavy to them. I don't want you throwing out your back or, doing something dangerous, but if when we're starting out training, and you're curling 5-pound
Mm-hmm.
dumbbells
Mm-hmm.
and you're just repping out and you can do 15, 20, that's not heavy enough.
Mm.
So what you want to do is making sure that your form is great, whatever move that you're doing, and you're going to increase your weight until you can do 6 to 8, 8 to 10. But by the time that you're on 7 or 8, 9 or 10, I want you to be struggling. Like that
Mm.
is just, it's difficult for you to get that last 2 reps in. That is the heavy that you're looking for. We shouldn't be
Gotcha.
doing, 5, 6 sets with 15, 20 reps. That's way too high. You want to load your muscles. So those last 2 reps should be a struggle for you. That's where you know your weight is good and heavy.
Mm. Okay. And how much on it, is it like 2 workouts a week? Is it 3 workouts a week? What could people get by with as far as some of that lifting? If they're doing maybe all cardio right now or little Pilates, what could they implement in that is going to kind of check that box for them?
For sure. One, I would back off the cardio. I
Mm-hmm.
would do less of that. Pilates is great because you're doing those small twitch muscles, which is very, very important. So I absolutely love Pilates. Um, I have clients that they can only do twice a week, and that's fine. I can build you a great workout, a full body that you are going to get a fantastic workout twice a week. So I would say minimum, if you're going to be lifting heavy, twice a week. 3-day splits are perfect. They're a
Mm.
great base, if you will. I do 3-day splits, and then I sprinkle in my other stuff that I absolutely love doing, so that I'm working out, 5 days a week. But 2 days is great if that's all you can do per week.
Translate 3 day splits for me for those of us who are not trainers.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Are we splitting upper body and lower body? Are we like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. 3-day split. So that's going to be push, pull, legs.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
push day is going to be your chest. I'll think of all your muscles that you use when you're pushing:
Yes. Yeah.
chest, triceps. Pull is going to be your back and biceps.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then your shoulders are also going to be on the push as well. And then
All of a sudden, all my training is making sense now. I don't usually have too much of an idea of why my trainer's telling me to do something. I'm just like, I'm doing it.
yes, yes. And then legs, self-explanatory, your lower body. But I like
Yes.
to switch those every other week. So one week lower body, we're doing quads and glutes. And then the next week we're doing hams and glutes. So I don't want to completely murder your legs so that you're not walking. We'll split it up.
This is why we need a trainer, you all. This is
Yeah.
because there are experts who understand exactly what muscles we should be working when and how. So I'm a big advocate for that for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so the heavy lifting, most people do fall into this mindset of like, I don't want to get big, and that's why they don't do any heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Myth? I mean,
Myth. Yes, 100%. That, oh, if I lift, I'm going to look like a man. I'm sorry, girlfriend. That is not going to happen unless if you're on some steroids or some, growth peptide.
yeah.
Even that, we were not built that way. So you're not going to look that way. And if you have seen some women that do, chances are they're in bodybuilding. And
Hmm.
so that's what they're trying to do. So they're eating for that. They're taking supplements and steroids. They're doing things to make them get like that. So you will not.
Gotcha.
I don't look like a man, and I lift heavy.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm in that same camp. Okay.
Yeah.
Calories. Always trying to cut the
Calories.
calories.
Yes, we shouldn't. They are our friend. So if you're working out, I know it's scary, because you're like, oh my gosh, I can't eat that much. Yes, you can. Your body needs it. If you're fueling it with the right things, if you're working with a professional here, we're going to break down how much you're working out, how often you're working out, your height, weight, age, all these things, all these metrics. We're going to come up with a number for you, and it's going to be bigger than you're expecting, but it's what your body needs. You got to have the higher calories because you got to fuel your body.
And without those, are we going back to that same scenario where you're going to start burning muscle and,
Exactly.
building fat? Okay.
Exactly. So it's not that you're going to lose weight, because what's happened initially, so say you're in a surplus, meaning you're eating over the calories you should be eating, and then you're going to drop them back. So you're in a deficit. Yes, you're going to lose weight at first, and then your body's going to get used to it. And then your body is going to go into starvation mode. And
Mm,
so it's going to lead to the, hypertrophy of your muscles. And then you're not going to be burning fat. You're going to be storing fat because your body's like, oh my God, we're not getting enough. Hang on to
yeah.
everything. We don't know when we're going to get more. And so you're really wreaking havoc on your metabolism and on your body, because then you're going to start storing fat in the wrong places.
How detrimental is it? And asking for a friend, right? How detrimental is it when you skip that meal? Like you have a busy day and you skip lunch and you don't get that in, maybe for a day, maybe for 2 days. I mean, I know that happens a lot, especially with busy
Yeah,
entrepreneurs, my clients, myself even included. So is it
100%.
a one-off, no big deal, or are we really doing some kind of damage when we're missing those calories and the
So,
protein?
yeah, a one-off, absolutely not. I mean, you're not going to throw everything off the wagon for one time, right? But if it's continually being a pattern, if you're so busy, then I would really suggest prepping and packing and making sure you always have, that snack, that something that you need that's going to help you hit the calories, so that you're not starving.
Mm-hmm.
Also, not binging. So if you
Mm,
have a busy day, you miss it, you get home and obviously you're hungry, not binging just to get it in, because that's also going to wreak havoc on you when you go to bed. Because when you go to bed, that's when, the rest and digest happens. And so if you just loaded yourself with all this food, your body's not going to do what it's supposed to be, detoxing when you're
mm.
sleeping, not working because you just loaded it up with all this food and junk. Now it's going to be working while it's supposed to be resting. Um,
Gotcha.
so to answer your question, it's not detrimental. I mean, it happens, life happens, but being prepared for it, having this shake, having the bar, making sure that you get in the calories when you can, and we're not going overboard.
Love that. Okay, question for you regarding the food, and now my brain is, again, this feels like such a selfish podcast, but I feel like everyone has got to be in the same space. If I have this question, other people have this question.
Hundreds of others do.
Yeah. So, you're talking
Yeah.
about like, well, do something, right? Like, don't skip that, prep for it, plan for it, that kind of thing. And we go back to some of the ways we can get that protein in or the meals in. Is there, yeah, do's and don'ts when it comes to like, hey, you're at work, I'm going to grab a chomp, right? I'm going to grab a beef stick. I'm going to grab some edamame. Like, we're thinking this is protein, but I know there's something to like when you don't have somewhat of a probably balance, probably your macros, as you would say, right? Like, it feels almost like you didn't eat anything or you ate and it's gone really fast. Like, is
Hmm.
there something to, well, I'm going to grab this, but you really should have kind of a combination of things, that whether it's the fat, the carbs with the protein. For example, I've drinking protein shakes before, right? And there's like zero carbs. It's just the protein. And it's like, wow, that didn't make you full at all. Just
Yeah.
like you maybe got the protein, but nothing else with
Right.
it.
Right, right, right. So, with the only caveat is, and this is what I teach people,
Yes.
when you're pairing stuff, is with sweets, because you don't want to dump the sugar. So if you're having something sweet, let's say natural sugar, fruit, pairing that with a fat. So as far as like with the protein goes, you can add in anything else that you're wanting. Obviously, I don't want you to do like a bag of chips. But if you've got that protein in and you're still feeling hungry, I 100% get it. You can add in almonds. You can add in a piece of fruit, right? Because you're getting
Mm-hmm.
that the natural sugars, you're getting the fiber, you're getting the sugars are going to convert into carbs. Um, so if you've got that protein, that's your first priority. And if you're still feeling hungry, yeah, by all means, you can grab something else. Just
Yeah.
being mindful of what it is, making sure it's not dirty, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So helpful. Okay, good. All right. I think I've gotten all my own personal questions or
I love it.
out of the way. I'm making notes over here, right? The stress aspect. This is
Oof,
huge. And this
yes.
comes into a lot of the work that I do as well. I mean, we hear cortisol levels, like that's like a hot topic out there now, right?
Yeah.
When we have stress, we spike those cortisol levels. That affects, I'm sure, something on your end. I know what it affects developmentally wise and mindset wise and
Yeah.
how that impacts what we do. But from a nutrition or from weight, how does that affect people, the stress aspect?
So if you're constantly in a high state of stress and your cortisol is constantly elevated, you're always in that fight or flight, your body again is going to hang on to fat
Mm,
because your body doesn't feel safe, your nervous system doesn't feel safe. Um, your body doesn't understand that you have a high stress job and that's just how it is, or that you're just a high stress person. That's your body doesn't understand that, and it just knows what it is feeling, and it is out of whack. That you are not in homeostasis. You're constantly on the go. So how that's going to affect you is the work that you're doing is going to be not working, if not very, very hard for you
mm,
to drop the fat, for your body to do what you're trying to get it to do because it's not feeling safe.
interesting. So you could be doing these other pieces, you could be eating the right things. And if you're
Mhm.
constantly in this high level stress, it's going to be harder for you to burn that fat and to get in the shape that you want compared to somebody else doing the
Yes.
exact same thing.
Yes. And that can also show up. It might not even be that you're stressed per se,
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing that hit workout and you're constantly
Mm,
doing that high intensity. That also is going to eh, signal to your body that that is stress. Because when you are working out, you are putting your body under a level of stress. I mean, it's a
mm-hmm.
good stress, but if you're constantly doing those hit workouts, Orange Theory, ISI, all those things, um, your body is going to hang on to it because it's too much. You're putting it under too much stress. So a lot of times, I'll tell my clients, back off the hit every cut it down your
Mm-hmm.
classes, do something a little more movement, slower, intentional. um you can lift, just not going crazy heavy. You can do yoga, something a little, knock it down on the intensity.
Interesting. Okay, so for the hit, then I heard you throw out a couple things like Orange Theory, and we know that it's what high intensity interval training, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it has to, does something classify as hit when you are kind of hitting that high and then coming down and hitting that high, as opposed to if you went for a 5 mile run? Obviously it's cardio, but is that fall into a different category, or is that still kind of coming in the same space?
Right. The hit, like you were saying, is you go hard and then you ease off, and you go hard and then you ease off.
Mm,
So your heart rate is going up and coming down. You're hitting into that zone 3, zone 4 of your heart rate.
mm-hmm,
You're out of breath. You can't talk with what you're doing. So that is the
mm,
highness of it, right? And then when you're coming back down, when you're running, if you're going, for a 5 mile run, you're going to be at a steady state of, you're climaxing, right, to get there. But then once you're there for a while, then you kind of plateau out and you're at a steady state there. Your heart rate's not in zone 3, zone 4.
apparently you have never run with me, Lorraine, because
Are you fast?
no,
Oh,
not fast at all.
oh.
But even my speed keeps me in like a 4 or 5 zone. So
I need to run with you.
yeah, yes, no, I mean, yeah, a turtle could run with me. I am not fast at all, but I do find that, like, I'm like, whoa, I was in zone 4 and 5 for a long time in that run. So I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's a sign of your heart condition. I don't know. But so I'm
When you're
taking it
in the
from you
higher
though.
zone, you're
Yeah.
definitely putting under a more duress.
It is. So even if you're not coming in and coming out, it's like when you're in those zones,
Yeah.
that's when, yeah. So is
Yeah.
there, and I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but like not a magic number, but what is kind of good for people? Like you said, maybe if you can work out twice a day, lifting heavy, like what is acceptable and good for us in that hit or that cardio?
So, okay, so you're asking what is a good number for
Yeah,
doing HIIT?
like 2 days a week. Like obviously you're saying back off. We don't want to be doing this 5, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But what
I
would be
def
kind of a proper allocation?
If we're trying to build muscle, burn fat,
Yeah.
I would not be doing HIIT more than twice a week,
Okay.
because you need to be lifting the other days a week. So if you're doing
Right.
HIIT 3 times a week, then you're only leaving lifting to 2 times a week.
Mhm.
And that's a really hard amount of time to really focus on the heavy and building, because the heavier
Mhm.
you are, you need when are you going to recover? And that's
Mhm.
key to building, is you have to put your body and your muscles under a good amount of stress, but you got to recover that. And so if you're
Mm.
throwing in HIIT all the time, you're never going to recover. And again, your cortisol is going to be up and your body's going to hang on to everything.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot that makes our body want to hang on to fat.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's all of a sudden making sense. Like, yeah, when you're 20, it's like, wait, you don't have the stress, right? Like, there's a lot of
Right? Not a
things that
care in
would
the world.
probably, yeah, allow your body just to melt the fat right off. But
Yeah.
add a spouse and some kids and some
I,
mortgages and all that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden we're hanging on to fat like it's going to
yeah.
save our life.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
grief. Okay. That brought up another question for me as far as you said if you're trying to build muscle and lose fat, right? That's one thing. Is there a case, like, is there a different goal if somebody was like, well, I'm doing cardio every single day, I'm doing HIIT every single, are they trying to achieve a different goal?
Um, I would be curious as to what they are trying to achieve, if they
Okay.
are if they are doing that. So, okay, I will, speaking from me, personal experience for
Yeah.
myself. When I was training for a marathon, I was not lifting
Mm.
whatsoever. I was only running, and I had a dramatic uh muscle loss, which was really hard because I had just come out of a season of competing. So I spent a lot of time building muscle.
Mm.
But when I was training for a marathon, you can't. I mean, you can if you
Yeah.
want, but it would be stupid to,
Mm.
unless if you're doing endurance. But then now we're just opening a whole new can of worms. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna, if you're doing that much cardio, you're not um, building. You're
Gotcha.
kind of like, pick what you want to do. What are we doing? Do we want to build, or do we want to focus on, triathlon and running? Think about the triathlons. They're not lifting. They're practicing
Mm.
endurance training, swimming, biking, running,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. So it goes back to your goal. What do you really want?
Exactly.
Love that.
Exactly.
Love it. Okay, good. So much good stuff here. Let me ask you about some of the things that kind of supplement all of this. Like I look at that and go, here's the 5 mistakes that we're making. We need more protein. We need heavy lifting. We need the right amount of calories. We need less stress and not too much cardio, right? So if we can look at those are very much our controllables. And then there's a whole nother element of things out there that we can look at where it's like, hey, there's red light therapy, there's peptides, there's all this other things that we can kind of add in. What
Mm,
are you putting value behind when it comes to the extra things that we can do to help ourselves?
absolutely. I freaking love red light therapy. There's
Really?
so many benefits to that. I absolutely love it. It's so healing.
Mm,
It's great for your skin, collagen, like I said, the mitochondria, like it just regenerates and gives you the the healing properties that's going on when you're sick. Just sitting in front of it just helps with healing and energy. I absolutely love it. And there's another, I'm going to test this. I just heard on Mind Pump Media that
Mm-hmm.
doing red light therapy after weight training on the muscles that you just worked is going to help with building muscle, which makes perfect sense
Mm.
because of the mitochondria aspect of it and the regeneration and the healing aspect. So you just ripped your muscles apart, right? And then you're going to come home and you're going to get in front of the red light and it's going to be penetrating it and healing it. And what you were trying to do, you're trying to grow it. So now that's just going to further along that process. So I've been really diligent about that after I lift, coming home and getting the red light on whatever it was I was working. I'm super excited to see the results of that. But
Mm.
red light therapy, I absolutely love. I've even been doing it on my scalp
Yeah.
because it helps with hair growth.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah. So I
Are you
freaking
seeing
love it.
it? Are you
Yes.
seeing a difference yet? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Wow.
I'm also doing a peptide that helps with hair growth. So, but
Yes.
I
Yes.
definitely feel it. I could feel it on my scalp. Like when I
Interesting.
love it. I love it.
You're like a little chia pet. You can feel it like growing. Right?
Yeah.
It's working. It's
Yeah.
working.
I wish it worked that fast.
Like the little Play-Doh guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So when you say red light therapy, you see, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a million things on my phone now because there's just so much out there, right? And as soon as the
Yeah.
phone hears us talking, I'm gonna have a thing for my head. It's all gonna be coming in my inbox, right? Or my feed, all this red light therapy.
Yes.
Is there good or bad? I mean, are there different I don't know, ones that it's like, yes, lean into this one, don't lean into this one, because you see face ones, body ones, and then infrared saunas, right? And you just kind of
Yeah.
get in there in general.
Um, so I love the Loombox. That's where I have
Mm,
gotten mine. And so
okay.
okay, so you mentioned infrared saunas. Those are
Yeah.
different
Okay.
um than the red light therapy like with a Loombox. So there's a
Gotcha.
certain
Okay.
level of the intensity of it and how deep it penetrates
Mm,
into your tissue.
okay.
Um, but that's why I absolutely love Loombox because it has there's two different settings. There's what is it called? NIR. I can't remember what it stands for. But there's NIR, which the red light's not on, but that one penetrates deeper.
Mm,
For like muscles, joints, and then the red light is more superficial. That's better for skin issues.
gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm excited. All right, I'm heading to Loombox. So you're
Loombox,
big
yeah.
on that. I mentioned
Yes.
peptides, and you actually just said, well, I'm also on peptides for hair as well. So give us a skinny on that.
Yes. So they're like a new fad right now, but they've been around forever actually. Um and I you gotta be careful here. So there's different ways you can get them. I
Mm-hmm.
am not condoning getting them off of the black market or even the gray market. So if you are gonna go down that road of getting peptides, I would highly, highly, highly suggest making sure you research the snot out of it, making sure that you're getting it from a reputable company, making sure that you're getting your labs checked because some of these
Mm-hmm.
are going to affect your IGF-1. They're going to affect you need to get your labs checked depending on what peptides you are going to
Mm-hmm.
get on. That being said, there are peptides for literally everything that you want. Hair, skin, nails, healing, muscle growth, fat loss. I mean, anything you can think of, there's a peptide for. It is amazing. I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. They're branch chains that they're amino acids that are in our bodies anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we get older, we can't produce some of these. So taking
Mm.
some is going to help. But I absolutely love it. I do GHKCU for, it's a copper peptide for hair, skin, and nails,
Mm.
and NAD plus. I know that's a big one that people
Yeah.
are loving for energy, healing, all the things. Again, with the mitochondria and the regeneration of your cells, um, you know, that youthful feeling and look
The
that
glow.
we're all wanting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I love it. So
yeah.
good. Okay. All right. What am I not asking you that would be so helpful for me and everyone listening?
I don't know.
I
What
feel
we
like
talked.
I've just been like plucking all this information. I'm just
I know.
draining you of all the details here. Anything else that you think that we should know?
I I want women especially just to really tap into their health
Yeah.
and stop putting themselves off and really take care of themselves because we run the ship, we run the show
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
And if you're not feeling your absolute best, and I'm not talking from a vanity point, but just feeling great in your skin
Mhm.
and having confidence, when you show up like that in the world, then you do what you were created to do, and you're
Yeah.
going to encourage other people to do what they were created to do. And it all stems from your health and just feeling amazing in your body. And
Yeah.
I just love getting to help people get to that.
Yeah. Well said. And I think to kind of like push that message a little further along is like women typically they deal with it, right? We're
Yep.
very tolerant
Mm,
human beings. And
yeah.
so it's like you tolerate not feeling great or you tolerate not looking the way and we just kind of like continue to tolerate that.
Mm,
And there's just so much we can do.
yeah.
And I have learned that if you feel like you've hit a dead end and you've tried everything, there's still
Mm,
more things to try. I mean,
yes.
there's different people, there's different products, there's different methods. So
Yeah.
I just want to encourage people to continue going down that road, and asking. It's just such a well talked about subject now. And
Yeah.
I know we didn't even talk about it, but hormones are a big part of that too.
Yeah.
So just the more you know, the more you're informed, the better choices you can make. So I want
Yeah.
to wrap up with kind of one last question, and it kind of fit in earlier, but what would you say that it is important to get ahead of this? Because I think that you're talking about helping a certain age woman, right? And we
Mm,
usually don't look for that help until you kind of hit
yeah.
that wall, until you're looking the way you don't want to look. How
Yeah.
important is it to be proactive? Does it give you an edge? Does it set you up for a different level of success in kind of doing all of this before you ever feel like you really need to?
1,000%, because you're priming your body for it. So if you're
Hmm.
starting before you start declining, you're setting your body up for success, right? If we're doing the things, we're eating properly, or we're sprinkling in those extras of the red light therapy and whatever peptides that are going to help supplement what is going to be depleted, then yes, you're doing exactly that. You're getting ahead of the curve. You don't want to have to start your fitness journey. You want to start your fitness journey because you want to, because you want to feel great. You don't want to have to do it, because at that point that
Hmm.
you're feeling helpless, you're feeling lost, you're feeling isolated. So starting earlier on, before the wheels fall off, is
Hmm.
only beneficial. And
Yeah,
it'll ease into it. And you know, what did they used to say? When you hit a certain age, it's all downhill from here. No, no, it's not. It doesn't have to be. So starting
absolutely not.
earlier on.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I would hear people say that. Oh, well, once you hit your peak, and I'm like, I literally said I was at an event like 2 weekends ago, and I was probably one of the people on the older age. I might have been like the second oldest person there, something like that. And I literally was like, I have never felt better in my whole life. I'm going to
That's
be 51 in 2 months, and I have never, ever, ever felt better. And it's not because I'm using a bunch of stuff. Yes, I have drinkable peptides. Like I love my peptides, but
yeah,
it's just about really knowing yourself and being
yeah,
able to fine tune all of that. So I hope people reach out. One of the things I love about you, Lorraine, is that you make it You make it easy. You bring in the mind piece. So for the people who are out there feeling like, God, I can't even wrap my mind around this. It's so much information. I just don't even know where to start, or I don't feel good in my own skin. Like, you have this ability to speak to them from a mind perspective and then help them with the physical perspective, which I think is just so, so key, because you don't always get that with somebody in the nutrition and the strength. You get more of just like, well, here, I know your body. I can help you do this with
Yeah.
your body, but you need the
Yeah.
mind piece too. So thank you for
Thank
being
you.
such a light and a resource out there.
Thank you.
As we wrap up here, share where people can find you. Where do you hang out most as far as platforms and information?
Instagram and TikTok. Those
Okay.
are the places. And it's just my name, Lorayne Michaels. And it's
Easy to find.
spelled with a Y,
Yes.
Lorayyne.
I love it. Well, we'll have all that in the show notes too. And
Fantastic.
for those of you that are TikTokers, I am not. But
I
everyone's
love
always
it.
like, you need to get over there. I know, that's what I hear. I hear I'm missing
Yeah.
out on a lot over there. But again, thank you so much for joining, Lorraine. You've been such a wealth of information, and I'm grateful you were here. Thanks.
Thank you, Angie. It's been a blessing.
So much wisdom in today's episode. I love all the knowledge that Lorraine shared with us. And if you know somebody who's like, I want to maximize my health, I want to feel better, I want to look better, and this would help them, share this episode with them, send them the link. And if you enjoyed it, leave a comment below, like and subscribe. We love to have you here all the time. Thanks for tuning in.